How's it going, guys? Wanted to talk a little bit about rendering systems that you can use for your own custom games and engines. And this is something I've been looking at for a while now. And I was trying to make my own game based off of, well, using one of these. So I'll just go to that real quick. Also testing out recording here at a higher resolution. It was pretty laggy. So yeah, I was trying to develop Underdark Tactics, and I got a pretty good idea for the game and how it's all going to flow, but getting the rendering set up, well, I had previously used some custom OpenGL. I wasn't really happy with the direction it was going and the limitations I was running into, so I wanted something I could do some cross-platform rendering, and well, I'll just tell you, I'm basically just going to go over what I've learned so far. So first of all, I did a little research and kind of settled upon BGFX as a system for doing all the rendering stuff. It was pretty easy to get some basic stuff going, but I started hitting some roadblocks and it hasn't been all that fun. The goal of building Underdark Tactics was basically to have fun. The main goal is to have fun coding, and it has not been fun working with BGFX. But from what I'm reading, none of these are particularly easy and fun, and we'll get to some other ones here shortly. So I probably got about as far as the meshing and instancing, and started messing with textures a little bit, and then I just kind of got to a point where I was like, I don't feel like this is very intuitive. So this is probably the most popular one out there. There are some, I see a lot of complaints about the code quality, and I do understand that. One of the main problems seems to be, well, I'll try to explain this. This is really my personal opinion, so I don't want to act like this is, well, I don't know. I'll just explain what the roadblock I ran into with the code. Okay, so there's these three libraries, and they all go together. And I was able to get them up and going pretty good. Let me just launch it actually. So I was able to get all three of those in with submodules. Oh, this is really laggy. Trying to record at 1080 with this computer is just not happening. So I've got them all in as submodules. I've got BGFX, BMenge, BX, and I've got CMake that does everything. You can set custom commands to build, but I just build them with make, and I have it basically yell at you if you don't have them. So when you go to build the main app, this is going to be a bit of a rambly, wild video about code and rendering and stuff. So hope you're up for all that. So basically, if it doesn't see that the library is built, it's going to yell at you and say, hey, this was not built for release or debug or whatever you're trying. Other than that, there's a bunch of different libraries in here. Some of them I've custom made. Actually, all of them I've custom made. The ones that are not custom made are brought in from these external modules. Well, this main loop one is mine, but GLFW I'm using for windowing and input. I've got these three libraries. I've got ASM for the model loading. And that's all really fine, but trying to get all this rendering set up and set up in a way that like I can kind of modularly make levels with has not been super user friendly. And I don't know if it's the fault of my lack of digging into the library far enough or something else, but I've been stuck for like a week, and I don't like being stuck for a week. It's starting to feel bad. It's starting to feel real bad, so I got to make a change. So basically, I was like I was just trying to get a texture loaded, which sounds really easy, but it wasn't really easy. And I couldn't really find any clear support on how to do it. Like, if you just Google search how to load a texture with BGFX, you basically get someone, the creator of the thing saying, oh, just look here. It's done right here. in the utils. There's an image load. But then if you look at image load, well, I was able to build this common as a library, but then it has a problem of it's already looped in with its own main, so I can't use my own main. And trying to extract that out was just taking me forever, and I was running into more nonsense. And nothing's all in just one file. Like, if you want to use this BGFX utils, there's a whole bunch of files in here there's a whole bunch of files in entry that you have to figure out how to extract. And entry has a main, and it's like a whole windowing system that's actually probably set up pretty nice, but I'm already kind of committed to GLFW, so I don't want to use that. But the way he has like the thing to bring in images written forces you to use that, and it just causes an error, and I couldn't figure it out quickly. So I was just getting annoyed, basically, is what was happening. And I'm willing to bet I could figure it out eventually, but like, how many more days do I want to waste digging through his code? And it's like, it's some BS code, if you ask me. Like, obviously, the creator of this is a way better coder than me, don't get me wrong. But for me, trying to go through it is like physically making me a little angry at this point, because I guess if I did a live stream of it and you just like saw the pain, you'd probably understand. But I literally just spent 4 hours straight messing with this, and I basically feel like I got nowhere, and it's driving me nuts. And I don't consider myself a bad coder. Like, I can read any code and walk through all of it and tell you exactly what it does. But the problem I'm running into is just that, like, you go look at one thing and you're just going down the rabbit hole. It's like, okay, now you got to go here, and it's got one thing from this file and one thing from this file and one thing from this file and one thing from another library over here. And it's like, I just want this simple little piece in one file. I don't want it all over the place. And it's like, you can't just use it as it is because it's attached to some main thing already. Oh god, it's driving me nuts to have to dig through all these files and try to abstract like 20 different things just to load a texture. I just want to load a texture, so I figured I'd just use STB image instead, and that's going to be way simpler. But I was like, I don't want to have to include more stuff. I literally already have the code in here. I'm just duplicating code if I bring in more stuff. So, like, just a search of, let's see, BGFX, load images. There's like this right here. And it's basically all the stuff I was already going through. This guy asks how to load a PNG, says, well, there's a utility right here, and it's in the BGF utils. It's already the nonsense that I've been going to that has frustrated me so much. And this is just one thing. There's been more stuff too. And there's another guy that says, hey, you can use either. And he says, hey, this image decode does it. I looked at the image decode some, but at that point I was like, oh man, I'm already deep in the rabbit hole. Anyway, so that's BGFX. BGFX it's clearly got a lot of potential. It's clearly super cool. A lot of people have already made a lot of good games with it. But I feel like I want to explore more before committing, because, like I said, I've been stuck for like a week, and I'm not happy with it. I'm actually very, very, very annoyed. But I still think it's like an awesome project, and I would like to get into it more later. So another one I was looking at was Diligent. Diligent actually looks pretty similar, except he actually has CMake. So yeah, BGFX is all make files. There's no CMake, which is fine. I'm good with make files, so that was fine for me. But if you're not so familiar with them, you might be really confused and get stuck. So this one, it uses CMake, so it's a little easier to set up, and it has a better walkthroughs of tutorials. So I thought that maybe I'd try out Diligent. I just remove all the BGFX stuff and try out Diligent, but I haven't done that yet. So Diligent looks really nice. The code is very modern and pretty clean looking. So if you just like go through the samples, there's plenty of stuff that you know, has some pretty clean code and examples already set up, which is always nice. But really, it's going to come down to the shaders. There's some decent sample shaders. I'm not a big fan of writing shaders, to be honest. It's something that I would prefer someone else do. So maybe that's part of my problem. It probably is. So Diligence, another really nice cross-platform rendering option. This one seems to have better samples and tutorials in my opinion, but it's not as old, it's not as well tested and all of that. So that's like, I guess that's the downfall, or not the downfall, but the downside, I guess you would say, is it's just not as heavily tested as BGFX is. BGFX has been around forever, and I suppose I didn't actually really want to close that, so I'll leave it open. Now, I was doing some searching, and I just started typing in BGFX, and I noticed that BGFX versus Magnum was a Reddit thread. So let's take a look at that and see what we can learn. So someone asked, basically, what's a good 3D rendering engine for use with C++ as PBR and good lighting system? And of course there's Ogre 3D. Ogre 3D is really old. I've never actually used Ogre 3D and I always wanted to. So I was considering maybe I should try that out. I don't know, but I guess I just need to have like 1 week of trying out all of these and then just pick one to go with. I think that's probably what I'm going to do next week. Is just try to out all of these. So this is like overview. This is kind of like the intro video. It's probably going to be a little series of just trying out these different rendering systems. I don't know. I'm really winging this, and it's probably going to be interesting if you like code. So subscribe if you like code, because that's pretty much what this channel is going to be about: code and computer hardware and stuff. All right. So someone suggested, if you want it to look like Unreal, why not use Unreal? And yeah, that makes sense. Using a game engine, Unreal, Unity, Godot, it makes a lot of sense. So that's another thing I might explore too. I've toyed around with a lot of game engines, but ultimately I kind of want to make my own. You know, I have a series already about this ancient Archer engine that I've been building. I kind of put that on hold while I started exploring rendering engines, because I was building my own rendering stuff on there, and it was a little overwhelming, but it was actually kind of fun. So I've just been thinking about, you know, pushing that off to one of these libraries. All right, well, some other rendering stuff came up. Euro 3D isn't a render, it's a full-blown engine. But apparently Euro 3D is another one to look at. Atomic is just a rename of Euro 3D, so there's some mentions of stuff here. Of course, BGFX is mentioned. I think the thing for BGFX is it's not very noob friendly. You have to be like super good, and you have to have like a couple good weeks to dedicate to getting started with it, is what I feel like. I think I kind of, you know, I thought I would have it in a day or two, but that just wasn't the case. Like, sure, I could get basic stuff in a day or two, but like fully understanding it and the capabilities and how to use everything, that got a little bit more complicated. It got pretty rough, pretty fast. All right, so other people are mentioning engines. And let's see. BGFX or Ogre 3D. Most others are full game engines. I guess there's Diligent too. So we're looking at BGFX, Ogre 3D, or Diligent is basically what I'm seeing at this point. Of course, well, there's Magnum too. No one's really mentioning Magnum too much. So let's look at this thread about BGFX versus Magnum. There's this live hunt link. I think I got it open already. No, maybe not. All right, we'll click on it. And this is just like a little library comparison. So BGFX is growing, but the activity is declining a tiny bit. And Magnum, the popularity is declining. Looks like it. Oh, what is this? Is this the. I don't know how they go off this rating exactly. I don't know how they rate it. But it looks like it's a little more stable. It looks like it actually has cycle releases on Magnum. So, and it looks like it has a little bit higher code quality according to Luminify. So as you can see, BGFX has the lowest code quality rating, L1, and I get that now. You know, when I was looking at it for the first forever, I thought, you know, maybe this guy's just really good and is just doing more advanced things than I'm aware of, and that's why it seems so complicated. But now, after kind of seeing the code quality review, it makes sense. Stuff is just nested really oddly, in my opinion, on BGFX, and I found it hard to follow through the code and what all was going on. Also, it would probably help if I had a better editor, because Visual Studio Code, you know how usually in your editor you can just go look for the definition of stuff in other files? Well, Visual Studio Code, it cannot figure out this library. Like, you just have to go manually hunt through files, basically, or run a grep search or something to find where the functions actually are sometimes, because Visual Studio Code can't figure it out. It doesn't know where things are automatically, even when they're referenced and stuff. So I found that to be a bit frustrating. Okay, so Magnum. I haven't looked at Magnum. Apparently it's another pretty popular one, and I think it's one we need to go check out. So let me just open up a tab here, github.com. I hope this video is watchable. I'm seeing a lot of lag. I'm trying to make sure it gets in at 1080. Let's search for Magnum, all of GitHub, and it should be one of the top ones. There we go. Yep. Mozra Magnum. Okay. So you moduled some tool chains, documentation, project homepage. Supported platforms: Linux, Windows, Mac, Android, web. Okay, that's cool. Looks like it's currently just OpenGL, OpenGL ES, and WebGL. So it's all just OpenGL, which is not really what I want. I want to have the option to do DirectX 11 and Vulkan. But, you know, I'm already kind of messing with OpenGL on my own, so you know, that deters me a little bit, but I'm not against giving it a try still. Maybe it's like really intuitive and really nice. I don't know yet. Let's take a look at, are there any screenshots of anything built? I always like seeing those. Maybe the docs. There's a lot of stuff here. So there's a lot of docs. I guess that's a good thing. Let's see. Let's take a look at some source code here. He does use CMake. That's nice. Gotta love when they're using CMake. Good bit of stuff here. I don't know. Let's just take a gander at what the code looks like. I'm seeing a lot of if-defs, namespaces, templates, okay, and really, really long lines of code. All right. Well, that's not necessarily bad, but it's not my personal taste. I find those to be a little hard to decipher when first looking at them. So this isn't too bad. Just an overloaded out operator. What is this? This is just a file callback. I don't know. It's hard to really get a gauge of this here from just looking at it a little bit. What a picture. Trying to make the world a better place. You eating humans? Oh, okay, I shouldn't. It's just very vampire-y looking. Very dark picture. That's not what this is about. Probably a pretty good coder. Alright. Well, I'm not really trying to, I'm just really interested in the libraries here. That's just a very profound picture. Pretty cool though. Alright, so let's look at some other ones. Let's just, real quick, I'm just going to look at my little ancient Archer thing. It's kind of old at this point. Master branch. Yeah, it all runs. It's all like a scripted thing, but it's not super. It needs a lot of work. I haven't worked on it in, apparently it says 2 months. I'm pretty sure it's been longer than that. I don't know. I used to have some pictures somewhere. Maybe they're on the tags. Yeah, they're probably on the tags. Let's look at this Boxer World one. Can I go to the code base? No, I can't. Alright. Oh, forget about that. So Earl 3D is another, I guess this is an engine. So if I'm going to use an engine, I'm probably going to use Unreal or Godot, but I guess it's worth looking at. Greatly inspired by Ogre 3D and Horde 3D. What's Horde 3D? That I'm not familiar with. It's an open source 3D rendering engine. Okay, so here's another one I didn't even know about. So they've got a GitHub repo. Horde 3D. So their little blurb, their features. Modern cross-platform shader-based architecture, requires OpenGL, resource management, Uber shader-based, unified scene system, unified low-level animation, content pipeline. Looks like it uses CMake. Okay, so, and well, what do we got here? Some build stuff. Okay. In order to build the samples, you need GLFW, so he's using GLFW for the windowing on his samples at least. Alright, so there's another one that's pretty interesting. I'm going to star this to keep it in mind here. I guess I'll star all of these I look at. We'll star Magnum. Cool. Alright. Horde 3D. So that's cool. I didn't know about that. And let's look at Ogre 3D. I haven't looked at Ogre in a while. I remember looking at this like years ago before I even really understood what was going on. I know there's a lot of really good coders out there. I'm getting there. I'm still actually relatively new. Like sometimes I'll see people that are like just amazingly good at coding, and I'm thinking, geez, they're so far ahead of me. But then I realize, or I hear something like, oh, I started coding when I was 8. I'm like, oh, no wonder. Geez, you've been coding for like 40 years. I've been coding for like 5 years. I guess, you know, when I've been coding for like 40 years, I'll probably be crazy amazing too. So it puts them in perspective. When you see someone that's really good at coding, they probably just coded a lot and practiced a lot. Well, let's look at, I don't know, I really do want to try out Ogre at some point. So I'll probably just make a list and go through all of these, maybe make some kind of long form videos of trying out all of these. They might be live cast. Might cut them a little bit, but let me know what you think down below. Leave a comment of what you would like to see. If you want to see me test out some of these rendering engines and just kind of go through it so you can get a feel for it and just have something to kind of watch and get some ideas. Okay, the Ogre Cave. Alright, I've already got it starred, so I've been here before, but it's been a while. So it builds on everything basically. That's cool. They do use CMake. Nice. And they do have some samples here. They've got multi-layer terrain, skeletal animations, bump mapping, integrated shadows, volume rendering. Okay, cool. Using IMGUI here, particle effects. Very nice. Oh, it was used for Torchlight 2? I played Torchlight 2. That's awesome. I don't think I've played any others, but Torchlight 2 is really fun. It looked pretty good. Alright, well, Ogre's looking pretty good. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Let's see, what else do I have open here? I have, no, this is just Learn OpenGL. So I'm going to narrow it down to just these last pages. BGFX, Diligent, Ogre. This is more like a game engine, this Euro thing. Cross-platform, yeah, okay. So we're going to skip that. I didn't see, oh, here's Magnum, okay. There's Magnum. We'll close that. And then we've also got Horde 3D, which has its own repo. We'll leave the repo open there. That's my stuff. Okay, So it looks like we've narrowed it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rendering engines. 5 different rendering engines, not game engines, just cross-platform rendering stuff that you can use as a library basically and plug in. Alright, well let me know what you guys think. I'm going to probably do, it'll take me a while, but I'll do 5 videos. I'll go through all of these. This one was sort of about BGFX, so I might skip that unless I get anything really new. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Keep coding, and don't forget to drop a like, share this video, share the channel, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm always trying to ramp things up, and peace out.